Here's something that's going to completely destroy your brain and probably ruin comic books for you forever. Marvel's biggest hero and DC's biggest hero are literally the same person. No, seriously, I'm not talking about some vague similarities or, oh, they're both rich nonsense. I mean, they are so aggressively identical that it's honestly embarrassing nobody's called this out before. Picture this. There's a character who loses everything in a traumatic incident involving a dark and closed space, becomes obsessed with using his vast fortune and genius-level intellect to fight crime, builds increasingly ridiculous high-tech gadgets, creates AI assistants that inevitably become murderous, struggles with severe trust issues and daddy problems, claims he works alone but somehow ends up babysitting an entire team of dysfunctional superheroes, and deals with his crippling emotional trauma by putting on an expensive costume and punching bad guys instead of, going to therapy like a normal human being. Now, quick question. Am I describing Batman or Iron Man? If you said yes, congratulations, you're starting to see the problem. Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne aren't just similar characters. They're the exact same character blueprint, just executed by writers who apparently never compared notes and somehow convinced the entire world that they created something original. What I'm about to show you is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about these characters, and honestly, it might just break your brain a little bit. You've been warned. Alright, let's start with the most obvious evidence that these two are basically the same person. Their origin stories are so identical, it's like someone took Batman's backstory, changed alley to cave, and called it a day. Here's the billionaire superhero origin story formula, and I want you to keep track of how many boxes both characters tick. Step 1. Be ridiculously wealthy. Batman? Check. Iron Man? Check. Step 2. Live carefree, privileged life. Bruce Wayne partying in Wayne Manor, Tony Stark partying everywhere else. Double check. Step 3. Experience horrific trauma in a dark, confined space. Bruce gets his parents murdered in front of him in a dark alley when he's 8 years old. Tony gets tortured and nearly murdered in a dark cave when he's in his 30s. Both check. Step 4. Nearly die but survive through sheer determination. Bruce survives the psychological trauma that would break most adults. Tony literally builds a life support system to keep his heart beating. Another double check. Step 5. Return home as a completely different person. Bruce becomes obsessed with justice. Tony becomes obsessed with responsibility. Check and check. Step 6. Decide the logical response is vigilante justice. And here we are. Both characters look at their trauma and think, you know what would fix this? If I became really good at punching people while wearing an extremely expensive outfit. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm pretty sure both of these qualify as really bad days that would mess you up forever. But here's where it gets really weird. They both have the exact same psychological response to their trauma. Bruce blames himself for his parents' death because he wanted to leave the theater early. Tony blames himself for all the people killed by his weapons. So what's their solution? Do they go to therapy? Do they start a charity? Do they take up meditation? Nope. They both decide that the most reasonable response to psychological trauma is to put on a costume and fight crime personally. I mean, honestly, most people deal with guilt by eating ice cream or binge watching Netflix. These guys deal with it by becoming one-man armies. Talk about overachievers. And the best part? They both emerge from their respective dark holes, literal cave for Tony, metaphorical hole of despair for Bruce, with the exact same revelation. I have money, I'm really smart, and I'm going to use both of these things to make sure this never happens to anyone else. Different decades, different continents, same exact character arc. Okay, so maybe having similar origin stories is just a coincidence. I mean, there's only so many ways to traumatize a billionaire, right? Wrong. Because now we need to talk about how both of these characters are so smart, they're actually stupid. Both Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne are certified geniuses. Not just, oh, he's pretty clever genius, I'm talking could probably solve world hunger in a weekend, but chooses to punch criminals instead. Genius. And somehow they both use their incredible intellects in the exact same ways. First up, AI assistants. Tony creates Jarvis, an incredibly advanced artificial intelligence that helps him with everything from suit diagnostics to witty banter. Bruce creates the Bat Computer. Wait, I'm sorry, let me be more specific. Bruce creates an incredibly advanced artificial intelligence that helps him with everything from crime analysis to, okay, less witty banter, but you get the point. Both characters looked at the concept of having a butler or assistant and thought, you know what would be better? Second, they are both masters of literally everything. Tony Stark is an expert in mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, artificial intelligence, physics, and probably 17 other fields that normal people need decades to master. Bruce Wayne is an expert in criminology, forensic science, martial arts, psychology, chemistry, biology, detective work, and oh yeah, he speaks like 12 languages, because why not? Most people struggle to be really good at one thing. These guys are world-class experts in more fields than most universities offer. It's like they both read every textbook ever written and then decided that wasn't enough, so they'd also become Olympic-level athletes. Third, and this is where it gets embarrassing, they both create contingency plans for everything. Tony builds suits for every possible scenario: spacesuit, underwater suit, anti-Hulk suit, probably an anti-stubbing-your-to-on furniture suit. Bruce has contingency plans to defeat every member of the Justice League, including himself. Let me repeat that. Bruce Wayne has a plan to defeat Batman. That's either incredibly smart or incredibly paranoid, and honestly, it might be both. But here's my favorite part. They're both so smart that they accidentally create their own worst enemies. Tony creates Ultron, an AI designed to protect humanity that immediately decides humanity needs to be destroyed. Bruce creates Brother Eye, a surveillance satellite that decides the best way to protect people is to control them completely. It's like they're competing to see who can create the most dangerous backup plan. Oh, you made a murderous robot? Well, I made a murderous satellite. They're basically having a contest to see who can accidentally doom humanity more efficiently. The pattern is so consistent, it's almost insulting. Both characters are smart enough to solve almost any problem, but somehow always create bigger problems in the process. They're like the world's most overqualified disaster magnets. Both are worth over $100 billion. Both inherited companies from their fathers. Both use their wealth to fund their night jobs. But here's where it gets really ridiculous. They both have the exact same relationship with their money. Tony owns Stark Industries, which started as a weapons company that his dad built. Bruce owns Wayne Enterprises, which is basically every company that his dad bought. It's like they both inherited the cheat codes to capitalism and then decided to use them for the most expensive hobbies in human history. Now, most people who inherit billions of dollars buy yachts, private islands, maybe a sports team. These guys? They build secret underground layers filled with military-grade equipment. Tony has Stark Tower, a gleaming monument to his ego with more technology than NASA. Bruce has the Batcave, a little cave under his house that somehow has better internet than most countries. But wait, it gets better. Both of their companies undergo the exact same transformation. Stark Industries goes from making weapons to making clean energy and world-saving technology. Wayne Enterprises goes from making everything to making, well, still everything, but now it's secretly funding Batman's war on crime. It's like they both looked at their evil corporate empires and thought, you know what this needs? A conscience. And also way more explosions. Now let's get deep. Both characters are fundamentally broken people who refuse to get help. Tony deals with PTSD by building more suits. Bruce deals with trauma by punching more criminals. They're both running from their problems at 200 miles per hour. They both create teams, the Avengers, the Justice League, then spend most of their time trying to control or protect those teams. It's like adopting kids and then never letting them outside. Want proof they're the same character? Let's look at how they handle identical situations, because spoiler alert, they make the exact same choices every single time. Government oversight? Tony supports the Sokovia Accords, tries to regulate superheroes, immediately regrets it when it backfires. Bruce opposes government control of vigilantes, creates his own surveillance systems, immediately regrets it when they become evil. Same problem, same terrible solution, same regret. Creating AI? Tony makes Jarvis helpful, loyal, perfect assistant. Then he makes Ultron murderous, world-ending disaster. Bruce makes the Bat computer helpful, loyal, perfect tool. Then he makes Brother Eye controlling, privacy-destroying nightmare. It's like they're following the same instruction manual titled How to Accidentally Create Your Own Worst Enemy. Mentoring young heroes? Tony becomes a reluctant father figure to Peter Parker, constantly worried he's going to get the kid killed. Bruce becomes a reluctant father figure to multiple Robins, constantly worried he's going to get them killed. They both suck at emotional support, but somehow keep adopting superpowered teenagers. They even die the same way, heroically sacrificing themselves to save everyone, then coming back because apparently death is just another problem that money and plot armor can solve. At this point, they're not just similar characters, they're the same person, making the same mistakes in different universes. It's honestly embarrassing. Okay, but who would win in a fight? In a random encounter with no prep time, Tony wins because he can fly, has energy weapons, and Jarvis giving him tactical support. Bruce is amazing, but he can't punch a guy who's hovering 50 feet in the air, shooting repulsor beams. But give Bruce prep time? Game over for Tony, because Batman with preparation time has defeated Superman, and Superman could bench press the entire Iron Legion without breaking a sweat. Here's the real kicker though, they'd probably just end up working together, because when you get down to it, they're the same person with the same goals, and they'd recognize that immediately. Tony would appreciate Bruce's tactical genius, Bruce would respect Tony's innovation, and they'd spend the whole fight complaining about how nobody else understands the burden of being a genius billionaire with daddy issues. They wouldn't fight each other, they'd team up and then argue about whose suit design is more practical while saving the world together. Marvel gave us the optimistic version, the genius who believes technology can save the world. DC gave us the pessimistic version, the detective who believes fear can save the world. But at their core, they're both billionaires who put on costumes to punch their trauma away. They're both proof that having money doesn't solve your problems, but it does let you solve them in really cool ways. So what do you think? Are Iron Man and Batman basically the same character, or am I completely wrong? Let me know in the comments. Team Stark or Team Wayne? If this blew your mind, smash that like button, subscribe for more comic deep dives, and ring the bell because we're just getting started. Next week, I'm breaking down why Superman and Captain America are also the same person. Until then, remember, whether you're Team Marvel or Team DC, you're probably just picking the same character in different colors.